You ever had one of those moments where the whole world seems to turn on you and you're standing there wishing the ground would just open up and swallow you? That was me, right there at a grocery store. Checkout holding a box of cereal and a couple of apples, when the screen flashed big bold red, declined. My heart dropped into my stomach. I swiped again, same thing. People behind me started sighing, rolling their eyes. One guy muttered, "Man's wearing a watch that costs more than my truck, but he can't pay for cereal." A woman laughed under her breath. Sharp, mean, dismissive. A teenager smirked, whispering to his buddy, "Guess, Wall Street ran out of Wi-Fi." Their laughter wasn't cruel exactly, but it was careless, the kind that stings more because it assumes everything about you without asking who you are. I froze staring at that register screen like it might suddenly change its mind. And then a small voice broke the air. "You can take my money, mister." At first I thought I'd misheard. Then louder, steady this time. "Here, you can take my money." I turned, and there she was, a little girl, couldn't have been more than 7. Skin glowing, warm brown braids swinging over her shoulders, shoes scuffed from playground days. She held out a crumpled sandwich bag stuffed with coins and ragged bills. Treasure to her, maybe nothing to anyone else. My chest tightened. I whispered, "Sweetheart, I can't take that. That's yours." But she just shook her head fierce in her tiny way. "My mom says if someone's standing alone, you stand next to them. That's what good people do." For a second, the whole store went quiet. And then an old man snorted, "Kids got more class than him." My pride burned hot, but my eyes were suddenly wet. The cashier shifted awkwardly, asking if I wanted to cancel the order. I should have walked out, but something in that little girl's face, so unafraid, so certain, held me right there. "What's your name?" I asked. "Naomi," she said, grinning without hesitation. Her mother came rushing over a moment later, still in scrubs from the hospital. "I hope she's not causing trouble, sir." Trouble? I almost laughed. "No, ma'am, I said she'd just save me." Naomi beamed, telling her mom she'd given me her emergency money because no one else would help. The woman blinked at me, weary but kind. "That's Naomi for you." I asked if I could thank them properly, maybe take them to lunch. She looked wary, like I was some stranger about to pull a trick, but after a long pause she nodded. "There's a diner down the street. Mavis's. Cheap food, but good." And so we went. Their apartment later wasn't fancy peeling paint, mismatched furniture, a calendar scribbled with night shifts and school projects, but it was warm in a way that wrapped around you like a quilt. Naomi bounced from room to room, proudly offering me root beer. Her mom, Lydia, carried the weight of 1,000 double shifts on her shoulders. But she had that quiet dignity of someone who keeps moving, because stopping isn't an option. And me, I sat there, a man who'd built empires and burned them down, suddenly feeling like I'd stumbled into something more real than any boardroom I'd ever known. Thing is, the internet got a hold of that grocery store moment before I even knew a camera was rolling. Overnight, I wasn't a ghost billionaire anymore. I was the punchline of a viral joke. Memes, hashtags, clips of me staring at that screen with declined flashing over and over. People called it hashtag billionaire blues. They threw Monopoly money graphics on my face, circus music blaring. I'd been famous before, sure, but not like this. This was ridicule, pure and raw. And yet, Naomi didn't see me that way. When I ran into her the next morning, she shrugged and said, "It wasn't tragic. It was just a money hiccup." Just like that. And you know what? She made it sound less like humiliation, more like humanity. That's when I decided I couldn't just sit in shame. I grabbed tools from the hardware store and headed for the old community playground, the one with broken swings and rusted monkey bars. People watched me like I'd lost my mind, me sweating in the Georgia sun, pulling weeds and hammering loose boards. But with every nail, I felt something crack open inside. Not pride, not image, something deeper. Naomi came running by, her eyes wide. "You're fixing it for us." I wiped the sweat from my brow and smiled. "For you, for everyone." She grinned like it was the best gift anyone had ever given her. And then she pressed something into my hand, a little purple stone she'd painted in art class with crooked letters that said, "Be the helper." "Keep it," she said, "so you don't forget." My throat closed up. I slipped it into my pocket, and it's never left since. But life doesn't let you rebuild in peace. Someone spray painted over the mural we'd painted on the playground wall. "Be the helper" replaced with a $sign and the words, "Fake Savior." It cut deep, not just because it was ugly, but because it was a lie. The town started to murmur, questioning if I was just playing some PR stunt. And then came the worst blow, a doctored video online edited to look like I was the one who vandalized it. Thousands of shares. People I'd eaten with, laughed with, now looked at me with doubt. I stood in front of that crowd at the community center, my voice shaking but steady. "I know what's out there," I said. "I know what you've seen, but it isn't me. Someone wants me gone because I walked away from a world that doesn't forgive. They don't like it when someone leaves their empire behind and starts building something real." People grumbled. And then Lydia stepped forward, strong and clear. He wasn't out there that night. He was in my kitchen helping my daughter with spelling words. Abigail, a local journalist, backed her up. Metadata proved the video was tampered with. Still, silence lingered. Until Naomi's little voice cut through, "He's a helper." And the crowd softened. I realized then you can fight lies with proof, but you heal hearts with truth lived out loud. So instead of arguing more, I invited everyone to repaint the mural together. Parents, teens, veterans, kids, they all showed up. And we didn't just fix the words. We added to them bright flowers, stars, little handprints in every color. Above it all, truth always outlives the noise. But the past still came knocking. Jackson Hale, my old business partner, slick suit and all, showed up with a card in hand. "You're trending again," he said, like it was a gift. "You could turn this into a comeback, a rebrand, reclaim your empire." I stared at him, calm but firm. "I'm not your product, Jackson. This town doesn't need another king. It needs someone who shows up when the roof leaks." He sneered, calling Dawsonville a dead end. But for the first time in years, I knew better. I burned his card that night over Lydia's kitchen sink. Weeks turned into months. The library wing we'd reopened became Helper's Corner, filled with donated books, cozy nooks, kids reading under soft yellow paint. The playground buzzed with laughter. The mural stood tall. And me, I wasn't hiding anymore. I was right there, hammer in hand, paint on my shirt, the purple stone in my pocket, reminding me every day what mattered. 10 years later, we gathered for an anniversary. A banner stretched across the library steps. 10 years of helping. Naomi, now grown, stood tall beside her mother, holding a framed drawing of that first day, her tiny hand giving me that $10. My heart nearly burst. I spoke quietly, no rehearsed speech, just truth. I used to measure worth by numbers and headlines. Here I've learned value lives and roots not reach. I came here to disappear, but a little girl taught me how to live again. The crowd erupted, not for me, but for us, for what we'd built together. And yet, as I stood there basking in the warmth of belonging, I couldn't shake one thought. The man in the suit might come back. The world outside still whispers, still judges, still waits for you to slip. So I'll ask you this. Do you believe people can really change, or will society always drag them back to their worst moment? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell me if you've ever seen kindness misunderstood or someone judged too soon. Because this isn't just my story, it's ours. And maybe, just maybe, it's yours too.